Private Lender Podcast, episode 128.
The Private Lender Podcast quote of the day comes to us from Benjamin Franklin, who said, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety."
This is the Private Lender Podcast, the show that shares practical advice and know-how for new and seasoned lenders. From private mortgages on single-family houses to joint ventures on commercial projects and beyond. Discover details about investment vehicles that you won't find at your local bank or online broker. Listen and learn from private lenders and real estate investors, as well as from professionals and entrepreneurs, as they share the details, strategies, and the insight that allows for successful and prosperous lending. Now, get ready to increase your ROI. Here's your host, Keith Baker.
Hello, Private Lender Nation, and welcome to episode 128 of the Private Lender Podcast. I'm your host, Keith Baker, and I'd like to thank you for sharing both your time and your ears with me today. If you're looking for practical advice and tips on private lending and how to keep your money safe, then you're in the right place. But if you want to learn from my mistakes so that you can avoid them and also profit from them, well, then pull up a chair and pour yourself a drink, my friend, because this podcast is made and dedicated just for you. Today will be another quick episode, solo cast, but I give you full permission to get off the treadmill or elliptical as soon as this episode concludes in just a few minutes, and you should consider it a full workout. But before we get to the heart of the matter of today's show, first, let's do a little housekeeping. Please go over to the Private Lender Podcast Facebook group and join in order to be part of the community, to voice your opinions on matters and ask questions and provide answers. Just Google Google. I always do that. Why do I do it? Go to Facebook, go to groups, search Private Lender Podcast. It's a public group. You just have to answer a few questions to make sure, to help me make sure that you're a real lender. And I use that to filter. Then I'll let you into the group. Also, the Private Lender Academy will launch this July, probably around the 7th. This is 2021. So head on over to privatelenderacademy.com for more information. And if you'd like to be eligible for discounts or other pre-launch goodies like live group coaching calls, then click on Apply Now. Tell us a little bit about your investing experience, if you have any real estate experience, sort of what your goals are, and you will be in line for those pre-launch goodies. All right, now that the housekeeping has been done, and it's finished, let's go ahead and get down to the brass tacks. Today's episode is airing on Memorial Day 2021. That's May 31st. And as such, this will be in honor of those who have perished while serving this great country of ours. But this episode is also in honor of the family members that were left behind, as well as the survivors who continued to battle years after their service is over. And I wanted to do... I was looking up for Walt Whitman or some other classic American poems about war and battle. Even thought about doing the one from I just went blank. Alfred Lord Tennyson. They talked about it in the movie The Blind Side. But at the end of the day, none of that seemed right to me. None of it seemed to honor. Fortunately, I don't know of anyone in my family who died while serving this country. I do have those in the family that did serve, or that I knew while they were alive. But to honor Memorial Day 2021, given all the COVID crap that we've been through and just the sort of where we are in the pendulum swing of society, I decided to break out and to read a poem from one of my favorite American authors, Mr. Charles Bukowski. And this is The Genius of the Crowd. There is enough treachery, hatred, violence, absurdity in the average human being to supply any given army on any given day. And the best at murder are those who preach against it. And the best at hate are those who preach love. And the best at war, finally, are those who preach peace. Those who preach God need God. Those who preach peace do not have peace. Those who preach peace do not have love. Beware the preachers. Beware the knowers. Beware those who are always reading books. Beware those who either detest poverty or are proud of it. Beware those quick to praise, for they need praise in return. Beware those who are quick to censor. They are afraid of what they do not know. Beware those who seek constant crowds, for they are nothing alone. Beware the average man, the average woman. Beware their love. Their love is average, seeks average. But there is genius in their hatred. There is enough genius in their hatred to kill you, to kill anybody. Not wanting solitude, not understanding solitude, they will attempt to destroy anything that differs from their own. Not being able to create art, they will not understand art. They will consider their failure as creators only as a failure of the world. Not being able to love fully, they will believe your love incomplete. And then they will hate you, and their hatred will be perfect, like a shining diamond, like a knife, like a mountain, like a tiger, like hemlock, their finest art. Okay, here's the deal. I don't charge money for the show, but there is a cost, and I would be extremely grateful if you would help drive awareness, get the word out by leaving me an honest rating review over at Google Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, but especially at iTunes. It would mean the world to me if you could leave a rating and review over at iTunes, because that is still the main driver of getting awareness out there. It's the 400-pound gorilla in the room. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it's a small price to pay for the value I try to provide. Even if you don't like the Bukowski poem, I do try to bring things that will cause you to think, maybe scratch your head, and to think a little differently. And besides, if you go give me an honest rating and review, you can eliminate a lot of negative karma. It's true. You can fact check that. All right, that's going to do it for episode 128. I appreciate you putting up with me reading poetry horribly, but I do think that Bukowski is one of the great American authors of the 20th century, and he doesn't get enough recognition for it. Remember, please go over to Facebook groups and join the Private Lender Podcast Facebook group. You can go to the show notes for the direct link, or just go to Facebook and search the groups for Private Lender Podcast. That way you can connect, you can learn, you can be inspired, and you can discuss. And the Private Lender Academy will launch in July of this year, next month. Head over to privatelenderacademy.com for more information. And to be eligible for discounts and other pre-launch goodies, please click on the Apply Now button, submit a little bit of information, and I can guarantee you won't have to pay full price when the course launches. That's one guarantee I'll give you. Anyway, I have to watch out for that, because that is not an offer or a solicitation for any securities. That's just a discount. Anyway, as I sign off this episode, I'd like to honor those who have perished for our country, those they've left behind, and the survivors. Because they volunteered to go battle, I was never told that I had to. That means a lot to me. So in addition to self-awareness and mindfulness, I wish you safe and prosperous private lending. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Y'all take care.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Private Lender Podcast with your host, Keith Baker. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit privatelenderpodcast.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate and review, and we'll catch you next time.